the wall. So like there's a very successful series of stuff that Noel does, which is called like He-Man on Facebook. So like it's He-Man's Facebook feed that he puts up as an Instagram post. It doesn't really make much sense. It's completely off the wall, but it's really, really funny and it's been really popular. Like, but I'm not sure many brands would try something like that on Instagram, to be honest.
Yeah. Mate, humor's so key to everything you guys do. Can you imagine Paddy Power's digital marketing without humour?
No.
No.
No, like it's definitely central to everything we do. We're very lucky as well in that we also talk about football and stuff a lot, but we're also get involved in politics and stuff you can bet on. Like it's nice to be like working for a betting company in that every day there's something you can bet on. So every day we can kind of have a conversation or take a viewpoint on something. So, but like football is brilliant because football is a constant news cycle. Like it's something that you can have fun with. So every day, like and it's front page of news as well. Like football is huge, like in like the UK and Ireland. So every day, like I don't know, Wayne Rooney's on the front page of the Star, the Sun, or whatever for doing whatever he's doing off the pitch or on the pitch, and that gives you a lot of leeway to have a lot of fun with. And like I'm not sure. Like we're lucky in that because I'm not sure other companies or other brands can do that because I don't know. Let's say if you're the Pampers Facebook page, like you don't have a regular news cycle to have fun with it, but because we're involved in the foot sport and the betting industry, we can have stuff we can chat about every day.
Yeah, I suppose it goes back to the sort of foundations of content marketing, and the things that we always talk about is you have to make sure that your content is useful in some way. So even if it's if it's entertaining or if it's funny or if it's interesting and informative, all these things would count as useful. So yours is just Paddy Power's. You could just say Paddy Power's content is useful in a very different way from Pampers, who would probably be producing content about parenting or whatever. It's just, but you're still hitting. I still think that in terms of content marketing, it's still not that different. Obviously the actual the content direction is vastly different. But what you're trying to, you guys we're all trying to do in content marketing is to engage customers. So it's not that different. We all have the same end result.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. Like just talking to people on social media like they're normal people and engaging them makes a huge difference. Like I said about the example of talking to mates on the pub, like that's a big thing. Like nobody wants to be, if you're a mega brand like Coca-Cola, like kind of you want to be. People don't want to be preached to. Like a lot of people kind of think that a lot of brands seem to think that people are stupid. But a lot of people are smart as well. Like, you know what I mean? People are savvy enough to see through it if you're trying to sell them something, or like if you think about people nowadays, like anybody like us, our age have been like marketed to since the day we were born. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody's been marketed since they were born these days. So people are savvy enough. That's why content marketing works. That's why. If people can kind of kind of buy into you and kind of understand what you're doing, like that's why like video content or Paddy Power on the Voice works so well across all our platforms, because people just see it as kind of one of them, I suppose. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I should just quickly say to everybody who's watching just now, I can see there's quite a few of you now. If you want to ask Micheal a question, you can just type it into the message box at the right-hand side if you're using a desktop, and I think it would be underneath if you're using your iPhone or iPhone. If you're using Android, just chuck it in. So if you want to ask a question, just do /Q, and that'll come to me. That'll come as a question that we can ask Micheal. What you mentioned about content marketing. For us, I mean, for everybody, for all content marketers, really, I think the key is you're building trust, and it just depends how you. Each brand will have a different way of building that trust in their customers. But yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I think a lot of brands understand. The thing that I think now is that content marketing is just booming. It's so massive, and I think pretty much all the brands out there understand its importance. They understand they should be doing it, and now they are doing it. But so many of them are just absolutely awful at it. So they know that they have to be producing content, but they're just so often they're just so far wide of the mark that it's almost counterproductive. And you know, one of the great content marketing quotes is, you know, traditional marketing talks at people, content marketing talks with them. But so many brands out there are completely missing that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, like there's so many brands that just are so far, like, they just aren't willing to kind of get involved, or they don't seem to quite get it. Like every single day on my Facebook feed, I see stuff from brands kind of going, "What the hell are you doing? How are you paying somebody to put out this crap?" Like I saw somebody share like a Burger King Facebook post the other day, and it was like a load of chips and a chicken nugget. It was like, hit like if you can see the chicken nugget in this picture. And you're kind of going, Jesus, like, you're one of the biggest brands in the world, Burger King, and you can't do better than that.
Yeah, and you think the resources that they've got at their disposal as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Like that's why I think kind of smaller kind of companies, or like SMEs or small marketing companies, can do well, because it just takes a bit of innovative thinking, doing something a little bit different. It's not rocket science. It's like what we do is like, what we do isn't rocket science. It's just kind of trying to treat people that you kind of who engage with us with a bit of respect, and they understand them, and they kind of like bring the humor into it, and then kind of it just goes really well.
We've got a question from Emza Foster. I happen to know Emza Foster. It's Emily who works for us.
Okay.
She says, "What's the most memorable or successful piece of content you created, and why do you think it was so successful?" It's a good question.
I'm going to answer that. I have two kind of answers to that, actually. So, firstly, one of my favorite campaigns I've ever done was around the Ryder Cup in Medina. How many years ago now? It was 4 years ago, where it was our sky tweet stunt, where we wrote people's tweets in the sky above the golf course in Illinois. And I honestly think, like, I don't think anybody could get away with that again. To be honest, it was like 50-foot high, like letters in the sky above a golf course. That was in America as well, like outside of Chicago. Was unbelievable. And I was working on Twitter all day that day, and I was getting like phone calls on the ground. Like the governor of Illinois was like we were going up for a second route around the planes. As like governor of Illinois was like rushing to the airport to try and stop it and all this type of stuff. And then the fact that it was not long after Sevi Ballesteros died, so it was like the miracle in Medina. They called it on the Sunday. They kind of Europe were being hammered in the tournament, and they kind of turned around the Sunday. So we kind of they won the match, kind of a last minute comeback, and Paddy Power kind of involved. Even the Sky Sports footage, like when they showed kind of a look back at the World Cup 2012, you'll see kind of tweets from us in the sky, and Rory and McIlroy looking at the tweets and stuff like that. So it was pretty incredible to be involved in. The other, probably my other favorite bit of content that we've done was a tweet directed at Ladbrokes, actually, where there was some guy. This is kind of quite interesting, actually. So a lot of people try and copy us and try and copy our tone of voice like Ladbrokes, and we kind of have created a barrier to entry. I think we're a tone of voice because they can't kind of replicate it. And a couple of years ago, so there was some random guy on Twitter slagging off Ladbrokes, stop trying to be Paddy Power, and then Ladbrokes replied to him saying, well, Paddy Power follow us on Twitter, but we don't follow them. So what's that tell you? And then I ended up in this stupid back and forth, and I was kind of just having a bit of a laugh with the whole thing, and they were getting a bit RC, and then I just replied at the end saying, at Ladbrokes, your mum. The typical, the best way to end any silly argument is to say your mum.
That was the mic drop moment.
Yeah, and it got like 5,500 retweets. And Ladbrokes retweeted. I don't think they even realized what they were after doing when they retweeted it, but it got like 5,500 retweets, and I still see it kind of in like slides and presentations for like Twitter. They kind of put that up there as kind of
Yeah.
a brand knows tone of voice. I think that's probably a good example as well.
We've got a really good question in from James Christie. How you doing, James? He says, "Are you able to measure?" This is the thing for us. It's all about for us. It's having to measure. So James' question is: are you able to measure success of your social media with people coming to you to gamble? Is there a correlation between good content around an event and the money spent on betting? That's an excellent question.
To answer in short, the answer would be yes. To be honest, so we kind of have two kind of levels of KPIs. You have social KPIs and commercial KPIs. So we know that. So we have our typical social KPIs like that every company has, and then we have a commercial KPIs which are based around. We have like click trackers and URLs, which kind of on Twitter, when you push markets and prices, so we can see what kind of business comes through. And we have been able to prove that like that's Twitter customers are worth more than non-Twitter customers. So people who you've tagged on Twitter are worth more, and people who tagged on Facebook are worth more than non-customers. So we compare them versus one another. Yeah. Without giving too much information away, but we know they're worth more, and that has allowed us to, I suppose, invest more in social because we can prove that what we're doing is actually driving kind of customer value. We know that they tend to bet more if they're a social customer, and they tend to charge less as well. So that definitely does work. Yeah, I mean, for us as an agency, it's not any different for us. I mean, I suppose in a way you could say it's even more important for us because people are paying for our services, and it's the content marketer's constant headache, I suppose, really is trying to prove that ROI, and trying to show that engagement, and that the engagement means at some level eventually means intent, and that you can track that, and you can track that to conversions, but without giving too much away ourselves. Some clients are more open to that idea than others. Another question from PPA Scotland. That's Nikki. Hi, Nikki. Thanks very much for tuning in. I need to speak to you soon, Nikki, actually. Anyway, what size is your team working on content marketing? Inside on Paddy Power at the moment, we have on the social media side, we have, let me think, there's 4 or 5 on the actual social team. Then on the kind of digital content team, who looks after all kind of editorial copy on the blog and across various kind of touch points, I guess. There's like 2 guys, and there's like 2 new guys starting tomorrow. Well, there was always 4 in the team, but there's 4 on the digital content team and 5 on the social media team in total. Then there's a separate paid social team then, which sits in a separate department, and then there's also the customer service team has a social media customer service kind of couple of team, a small team there as well. Right. And what would I suppose there's no such thing as an average day, but what would a sort of average day, if there is one, look like to you guys? I think when we spoke briefly before, you mentioned that the very first, you have a planning meeting every morning, is that right? Yeah. So we always say we kind of have like a newsroom environment, I would say, in here. So every morning we have like we come in, have like a 10-15 minute kind of stand-up meeting, we call it, where people kind of just kind of shoot the shit and kind of talk about what's going on in the world. Like this morning, like it was like Paul Pogba's transfer. He might have signed since I've been in this conversation, but I don't know. But Paul Pogba's ongoing transfer, that saga with Man United, and at the moment, obviously, it's all around transfer window and Jurgen Klopp. Like there's a few quotes from Jurgen Klopp this morning. So yeah, every morning we have a daily kind of 10-minute stand-up. On a Friday morning, we do it a bit longer because we have the weekend to prepare for. So we kind of tend to, as a bank holiday weekend here in Ireland as well. So we tend to try and come up with a few ideas for what's happening over the weekend. Then on top, like outside of that, then for like major kind of campaign plans or for regular content, we'd have regular kind of brainstorm meetings. So for example, the last couple of weeks we've been planning for the Premier League. So like last week I kind of took the lads off for we went into town here in Dublin for an offsite for like 4 hours to kind of chat about different plans for the Premier League in terms of video on Facebook and Snapchat and Twitter and what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Similarly for like the Open, the golf that was on recently. We would have had a kind of campaign plan around that, where we would have had a series of kind of meetings around that specific campaign to create content for those campaigns.
Yeah.
But yeah, on a typical day-to-day basis, you kind of have your brainstorming meeting. I end up at the moment going to lots of meetings, to be honest. But the social is so important, I suppose, to Paddy Power as a company. We're kind of involved in everything across the business, like from a market point of view. So I tend to get pulled into bits and bobs of different meetings in terms of plans. I know politics meetings. I know the Ryder Cup's coming up soon, the Olympics. So I tend to go a lot. And then it's just kind of creating content, chatting about stuff that's coming up, and just tweeting. And then we have like 4 or 5 TVs in front of us up all the time. So constantly watching what's on TV in terms of sport and what's on Sky News or Sky Sports News, or what kind of crap Jim White's talking on Sky Sports News these days. Or that's about it. That's kind of it, really, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose your content marketing is quite, I suppose it's vastly different, really, from it's the other end of the spectrum from what we tell and we do for a lot of our clients. I suppose most agencies would be the same, that we are constantly banging on to people about the importance of planning. You know, you have to know your customer personas. You have to have a content diary. You have to know what formats. Everything has to be planned, because there's so many boxes you have to check as a content marketer. If you don't have a decent plan in place, then it's going to fall apart, and you're going to get disillusioned by it. It's not going to work, and you're going to end up going back to, banner ads or whatever. But you're almost the opposite of that. You're so reactive that it must be difficult to plan much in terms of the actual content, what you're actually going to say.
Yeah, it probably is true in that, like I said, we have kind of for key campaigns, like for the Open, for example, we'll plan kind of 1 or 2 kind of videos or key stuff to use around that weekend. Or for the Premier League now, like obviously videos come such a big part in social. We're planning to have kind of regular kind of video content streams each week. So we're kind of general themes. So trying to think. So we previously would have done like Paul Merson's missing persons. Where each week Paul Merson talked about who was kind of missing in football the weekend. So the plan is kind of in the future to have kind of video content like that every day. But yeah, in general, we are kind of quite reactive. I suppose like I said earlier on, we're looking at the team working for us are very talented, and they're kind of sharp-witted and quick to react to kind of breaking news. Yeah. So we kind of have a newsroom environment as well. So there's 4 or 5 of us sitting around our desks when just like when stuff happens, we kind of can just jump in the room together for 5 minutes, kind of trash out a few ideas. We also like work obviously around the clock. So like football is huge for us. So like the way like the work shifts will work is that anytime there's a big football game on, there'll be somebody working late to cover it. So like during the Euros, there's somebody working until 11 o'clock every night. Somebody works every weekend. That enables us to jump on stuff as something happens. And even aside of that, me and everyone in the team, I think it's quite important that I'm like a football and sport in general fanatic. If there's something happens, breaking news, even outside of those hours, somebody from the team will probably spot it and kind of be on it, or will drop me a text and say, "Come here," I'm jumping on Twitter every 2 minutes to send a few tweets because I don't know, Mourinho's signed for United or whatever. So that's how that works. Yeah.
I've got two more things I want to speak to you about, because I'm conscious. I know how busy you are, and I'm conscious of the time. First thing is a question from Desiree. She's asking what you think of Snapchat, how you guys are finding it, because it's really, in terms of engagement, it's kind of the platform that everybody's talking about.
Yeah, like we kind of think Snapchat is very, very important, to be honest. Although like we're really good on Twitter, like you can see from Twitter that it's kind of stagnating a bit, and the Snapchat's the way forward. Even if you look at any stats for users in like the UK or in the US or around the world, like there's obviously huge. A lot of people kind of think it's kind of for teenagers sending dirty pics into another or whatever, but it's kind of a lot more to it than that. If you look at user numbers in the UK and in the US, like I think something like the age of like 30 to 40 is kind of the fastest growing kind of Snapchat group, and I use it a lot myself, and all my friends use it now as well. So, in terms of results, like we're kind of it's been a bit frustrating for us so far in that we're getting good results and getting really good feedback, but in terms of like views or looking at really proper analytics for Snapchat, the analytics aren't there yet. I suppose we've kind of have enough credit in the bank within Paddy Power that we've been allowed to kind of experiment and kind of do kind of a few bits and bobs with Snap, because we obviously have done such good stuff on other social platforms that we're allowed kind of to kind of play around with it, and then hopefully when that kind of analytics stuff comes down the line, we'll be able to kind of prove the value of it. But yeah, we have like regular features. Like every Friday we have like Office Bellend, which is proven very, very popular. And if you just search like Paddy Power Office Bellend on Twitter, you'll see all kind of positive feedback we get for it. Another regular, like we sent like 2 guys over to Euros like just in June to basically cover it for Snapchat basically, and do some live video on Facebook as well. But the 2 lads, like we went to the Ireland game, we went to the England Wales game, the Ireland Sweden game, England Wales games. They were just kind of on the ground, going around the kind of, because we thought it would be important to have it there. Like we plan to continue to invest in Snapchat and do more and more stuff on it. So yeah, it's kind of quite important to us. One of our kind of main.
So would you recommend it to all businesses that they have to? Because the way I see Snapchat, we don't really do much with Snapchat yet for our clients, but that's only because we're trying to sort of bring a lot of them sort of kicking and screaming into the idea that it's a good thing to use. But I kind of see it as it's what Facebook and Twitter and these sort of platforms, you're able to do what you used to be able to do for on those platforms in terms of engagement. Like especially for Twitter is just, I find anyway, for most of our clients, is absolutely soul destroying because it's just so easy. But Snapchat, you're still able to cut through that noise.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I'm a massive Twitter fan, but I'm addicted. Like every morning I get up, I put on Twitter straight away, and then I forgot the bell, I'm on Twitter. But like I agree with you, like it's not easy for people to get cut through, and I know the business for me is kind of losing kind of direction of what they're doing, and any kind of new stuff they've kind of introduced over the last year or two hasn't been great. I hate that like button. It doesn't encourage people to share stuff because they just like it and it doesn't spread, and you know what I mean. But anyway, that's my own opinion. But in terms of Snapchat, yeah, like we see it as really being a content specific channel. Like it will never become a point where you're kind of having like app install ads. Like we don't want to do app install ads. We just want to kind of create content in kind of new and kind of fun and innovative ways, and kind of we kind of see it as being somewhere we can at the moment be a bit more risky and do fun stuff. Like a lot of people now like consume their content through Snapchat. Like, you know what I mean? As in, like one of my friends isn't on Twitter. He got rid of his Facebook page, and like if he's looking, he goes to the Discover tab and looks on the Daily Mail, or goes to Bleacher Report or whatever to get like his daily news and sends pictures and videos. You know what I mean? And that kind of is the way it's going. Like I know lots more and more people who are like getting rid of their Facebook page because they just don't really enjoy it anymore, and Twitter is slow. So I definitely think Snapchat is a kind of a big area to that people that brands tap into.
Video is just, it's already massive, but it's just in terms of content, video it's only going to get even more massive. And I read a blog recently actually by I think it was a former Facebook employee who said Facebook has this video master plan that says that they're basically looking at, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but Facebook are seriously talking about moving towards making that platform almost exclusively a video platform within like the next 5 or 6 years. And when you see the popularity of things like Snapchat and what they're doing with Facebook Live and how popular that's been, I don't think that's inconceivable for that to happen.
No, definitely not. Like video and Snapchat are two, like again, are two of our big areas that we're looking at the moment. We recently just hired a social video producer actually for our team. Like Facebook, if you look at any kind of Facebook, any kind of stuff, even if you see Zuckerberg talking or anything, Facebook do, they're pushing video all the time. That we find ourselves like in terms of obviously the algorithm like heavily favors video content, so we find like if you have a static image or a status post versus a video post, like the video post will get almost 3 times as much reach as a static image or a status post.
One of the things I love about Paddy Power is that, you know, even with all of the resources that you guys have got, you know, obviously you're a massive company. You don't. I hope you don't take offence to this, by the way. You don't have a problem with putting something out there that's quite raw. You understand that you're. I think that you guys understand that your audience aren't fussed if you put a piece of video content that's actually quite raw. It's not beautifully polished.
Yeah, like I think that's a very fair point. Like we'd like to have a mix, but like people won't engage with brands if they're overly polished or it looks like your BBC News, something like that. You know what I mean? People will be more inclined to look at something that looks a bit more like kind of homemade, or like again, come back to the idea of like one of your mates made this type of thing. We're trying to create more and more original content. We're trying to stay away from. We don't want to be fucking loony or Unilad or Lad Bible or where they just find yes, lads send. It's like you've been framed. Send a funny video you've seen that was on that videotape, and we'll give you 100 quid or something like that. We try to create our own content, and especially when it comes to video content, and like sometimes it's a bit raw, or sometimes it's a bit more heavily produced, but we try and get the right mix of it, I suppose.
Final question for you, because I know that you've got to go. This is an obvious one, but what's the biggest piece of content marketing advice that you could give to business owners and marketers that are watching just now?
I suppose at the start, I think it's quite important to, like you said yourself, John, when knowing your audience. And to that end, I think it's important that you kind of define your tone of voice from the start and kind of have a distinct kind of tone of voice, and don't try and kind of copy other brands. Like have a tone of voice and know what you want to do. I know it's a bit cheesy, but to try to be yourself, like, you know what I mean? That's what I think is quite important. There's no point in like financial, like an accountant or a financial institution trying to be Paddy Power, or like you need to have a clear tone of voice. There's no point in being funny for the sake of being funny. If your brand isn't a funny brand, just do stuff that suits your brand. But I think the tone of voice thing is quite important. Having kind of guidelines in place from the start would be what I would recommend. Yeah,
excellent. Listen, Micheal, thanks so much for your time today. I know how busy you guys are, and it's really much appreciated. I think it's a bit of a coup, to be honest, to have somebody like yourself on as our first ever Blab podcast, and it's been really fascinating. So again, thanks very much, and on behalf of everybody that watched as well. So we'll let you get back to creating the awesome content marketing that you guys are known for, and we'll talk to you again soon, hopefully.
Cheers, John. Thanks very much. Thanks, everybody. Take care, John.
Take care. And thanks to everybody for watching.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye.